Hey there, it's Elizabeth, and welcome back to another Ramble session. Yes, a Ramble session on Monday. Again, I have not, been filming like I normally do because my in laws are in town to go to work. So now they are both at work, and I have the opportunity to film like usual. So that's good. And hubby is still home. He's out in the living room now listening to me talk to my phone. So yeah. So let's get started with all of this. I've been busy. I've been busy doing a bunch of different things. And one of the things I wanted to mention, and this is not craft related at all, but I do like to shout out people that treat their customers well. So over Christmas, at Christmas, my daughter had ordered from a group called Rowdy Gentleman a T-shirt for her brother, and it's a really great quality shirt, I have to say, and it's super cute. And I will leave the link below to it's rowdygentleman.com, I think, and they sell a lot of like vintage tees and caps and what do they call it? Like graphic T-shirts and clothing and all of that kind of stuff. And well, when she ordered it, she ordered an extra large, which wasn't quite big enough for my gentle giant. So I had contacted the company by email to inquire about their exchange policy and to see if we could get a different shirt. And didn't speak with, but wrote back and forth with a guy named Matthew. And in the end, the long story short, they are going to send out the correct size. And then when I asked about the return policy, let me know how to return it, he just said, no return necessary. Keep the shirt that you originally ordered and gift it to a friend or family member, and we're going to get your new shirt out as soon as possible. So, hello, when does that ever happen? Am I right? So yeah, I wanted to mention that to you. Great group to work with and very easy to contact them. He had very quick responses to my emails, same day responses. Yeah, that doesn't come along too often these days. So, wanted to mention that. The link will be below. Okay, now let's get into some crafty stuff. So this is my Fauxbonichi for January, February. Look at that. I mean, it's humongous. It's fat. Look at it. It's like an exploding book. But nothing is broken. The spine has stayed intact. Everything is going well. Though, for next month, you guys have already seen, let me see if there's a page I can get to where I wanted to show you an example of something. Here it is, I think. Okay. You'll see all these in a flip through. Oh, and for the month of February, I have been using, and I know I've said it before, I've been using Allison's Faux Flow journal that she so generously sent to me. And she's AJ's Inspired Life. I'll put her link below. They are super fun, excuse me, to make. So all of these things, like this came from her book, this beautiful image came from her book, this background came from her book, the tag came from her book, the envelope came from her book. Everything, just about everything came from her book. Oh yeah, and this flips out this way. Even this right here, and she did give me the link because I had a lot of people ask about where I got these types of papers from with these cute little doodles and messages and all that. I will leave the link that Allison put on one of the comments for one of the journals. I'll leave that link for y'all. Now, next month, March and April, I'm going to be starting to work in my hybrid Fobo. And I know y'all are waiting to see the tutorials on this, and I will get them done hopefully this week, if not next week, to show y'all how I made this book. It is an altered composition book. I'll leave the link below to the original video. I just increased the spine, and this is more of a junk journal. So I sewed in with a 3-hole pamphlet stitch on the side, 2 permanent signatures, so it will still hold 2 months. And in the center, I put a consumable faux flow. which is, I think, is going to work out really great, because when you're putting your faux flow together, you kind of just go shopping throughout your room and you pick and choose things that you want to use up, and papers and all that kind of stuff. And so you have everything in one spot, in one book, so that you can just journal as you want and everything's in there. So this should be coming up very soon. I'm very sorry it's taken me so long. So that's that. A few tips I wanted to show you as well. This is one of them, okay? This is a piece of corrugated cardboard, obviously from a Pringles box. What I do with this is, I think it's on here. No, it's not. Okay, I'll have to find a tag. Let me see where I used it. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so like on the back of this tag, you can hardly see it, but see there are lines right there. I like writing on lines, whatever reason. I just like lines. So this is how I make my lines. There are, of course, there are stamps out there that have lines. I just have never purchased one because I can make one, right? So this is a piece of corrugated cardboard, right? And then I just take my archival ink and I rub it over the top of it, and then I just stamp it down. So I've essentially made my own stamp to make lines on my tags and whatnot that are blank behind, right? So there were also some questions about on the group about this beautiful card, right? Isn't she lovely? This is a card for my sweet sister Karen down under, and it is beautiful. I did not do it though. It's a card and it's gorgeous. And thank you, Karen. Let's see what else that I wanted to show you. Oh, I wanted to make mention too that I need to make a little addendum to the last video I did, not the last video, the last ramble session I did, I think, where I shared that how I scan so many different things into the computer. I guess I thought it went without saying. Make sure that it is copyright approved if you're going to scan it. And, you know, make sure that you are allowed to scan it. Mainly the things that I scan into my computer are things that I make. Okay, so like this is an example. This is a faux flow journal that I'm making for a friend. And this is just, I sewed in some, it's a bag actually. It's a Lush bag, a little bag that I had in my stash. And, excuse me. This right here is the spine, and I lightly sewed in a piece of duct tape to hold the fabric in, but all the fabric can be taken out and used. And then the fabric also makes a little pocket for the front. Okay, little tip on this though, do not sew through duct tape. It gums up your needle and it will make you angry, and it will make your sewing machine angry at you. Yeah, learn that the hard way. Anyway, so I made this cute little pocket tag thing. It has, you know, a pocket up here. I sewed a dyed index card on the back and embellished the front and put this little thing on here. Well, then I liked it so much and I wanted to, you know, denote in my book that I had been working on this book this day. So I went ahead and photocopied it. Okay. I also scanned it into my computer so that if I ever want to use this again, I have it in my computer. So that's what I'm talking about. When I say you can scan and print just about anything, you can, but it's up to you to decide what you're scanning and printing. So I just wanted to make that clear. There are copyright laws out there, so just make sure that you're abiding by them. A lot of the times, you know, like I said, I scan things in that I make, like the collage paper, and things like that. Also, I'm not selling any of this stuff. So I do believe that that makes a difference as well. You know, like you can't scan somebody else's work in and then put it in a journal to then sell later. So just make sure you're abiding by all the rules. Let's see what else. I've been crocheting up a storm, and I'll show you that in a minute. And I did this weekend. This is like one of my favorite tags that I made. This is jelly print. This is just a piece of painty scrap paper. This is actually a photocopy from a Stampington magazine, and if you're wondering about copyright laws, I've said it in a previous video. I did email Stampington Company myself and asked if I could do this for my own personal journal, and they said yes. So then on the back here, just more scraps from my desk, and this is the food coloring dyed paper that I did a few weeks ago. So what I did with this is, I haven't done my journaling yet, so let's move this beast out of the way. What I did was I went through, excuse me, a lot. I have a file. I keep them in one of those magazine holders, you know, all the different papers that I either print out or make. See, here's the one here. I just scanned it and printed it out so I can use it whenever, right? Oh, these are just memes and stuff that I get from Facebook. Here was something I got. Where did I get this from? I do believe Susan maybe had put it on a group, and it was like freebie, you know, look how beautiful that is. Oh my goodness gracious. So I did the same thing. These were free though. And I do believe maybe she put it on Brooke's new Facebook group. That's something else I want to mention. Yeah. Brooke has a new Facebook group. It's Recreations by Brooke. And I think it's Recreations by Brooke. Anyway, it's a closed group for journaling and artsy craftsy things and all of that. So I will put the link to her new Facebook group. I'm so excited for her. So yeah, I print that out and scan it. They're just beautiful. That is from a Stampington. I already told you about that. Then I ran into a bunch of papers that I had either printed out from books that I had or I made myself for different things. Little, what are these? Jelly prints. You know, these are my smush papers that I can use, right? For making tags and all that kind of stuff. More of that. This is something else. I can't remember if this was from Brooke or not. If this was maybe a freebie, could have been. More smush papers, more of these coloring pages that I printed out. Or these could have come straight from the book. I can't remember. And jelly prints. And so that's what I did for that tag, is I went through a bunch of my, you know, jelly prints and papers and glued them on and made my own tags. So I took out all these papers over the weekend. This is actually a jelly print on a label sheet. And so I think what I'm going to do is sit here at some point when I have some free time and make a bunch of tags for my new journal, you know, to use up in the month of February, and then also to use in my new journal for the next few months, so that I have them already done and put together. Then what I wanted to show you as well is I have been working on my, I have been working on my hybrid, book, Fobonichi. Now, these are all the papers that I stained using food coloring. Let me take this one out. Where did it go? Okay. I just want to show you that one separately. Sorry. All of these, I just simply use blue, green, yellow, and red food coloring. Okay. Some of them come out super duper bright. And look, see, some of them came out with barely a hint. Now, a lot of you have asked me if I'll show you how I do it. The only problem is that I don't have a setup in my kitchen. And as most of you know, I don't fast forward or speed through, do voiceovers, any of that stuff. So yeah, it's kind of impossible for me to show you the whole process of me doing this. It takes quite a long while to do it, but I will try to explain it the best I can. I get a cookie sheet with sides on it. I fill it about halfway with water. And then I have the little teardrop food coloring thing. So I drop about half of the teardrop into the water. Sometimes I stir it around and mix it up, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just slip the paper right in, and then the first paper gets soaks up a lot of the first of the dye, right? Then I just simply go one right on top of the other and put them in, mash them down with a spatula. Make sure you wear rubber gloves because food coloring stains everything. And make sure you cover your surface because, yes, it will stain your countertop. So, yeah, I just put them all in. I put about 10 pages at a time in to soak, and I soak them for about 20 minutes or so. And then sometimes I'll get to like the 5th page going in, and then I'll go ahead and drop a few little droplets of more dye on, and then keep going, right? So then that middle layer also gets an extra boost of dye. And then when I take them out of the water very carefully so as not to rip them because they're very delicate, I then take a cooling rack and set it inside another sheet pan with sides, and then I just lay them right on top, and I lay them willy-nilly. All these veins you see in here is because when I lay them on there, they can wrinkle up, and especially as the pile gets higher and higher, they wrinkle up, but then they're so saturated. I do not drain them before I set them on top of one another, but the dye ends up pooling, and that's what gives it all these, veins and different designs and stuff. And the back looks like that, right? So I hope I explained that well. I really love colorful papers. I would much rather have color and just like a rainbow explosion in my book. So that's what I did for that. Hope I explained that well. And then I also went through, I guess this was probably like last weekend, I went through some of my Molly and Rex journals, and I took out carefully an entire, page signature. I can use this in my new book or in a faux flow. Took out a whole mess of those. And then I also did these pages here in just a random book, right? So I took them out so that they are a whole spread, and then I can put them either in my faux flow or I can put them actually in my junk journal portion. I can fold this up to make a little pocket in my books, and it's all together, right? It's all together. So then all you have to do is when it's in the signature like this, you just have to cut it down to size and you're good to go. So I did a whole bunch of those, like the whole book. So I did those. And then I did these that were in, look at that beautiful picture. Oh yeah. Yeah, these are huge pages, and sorry for the glare. And so I did the same exact thing with these, and I'll use these in my permanent signatures. Now, if this center part, if it has like a bunch of holes in it from the binding, I just simply run a piece of washi tape front and back, and you're good to go. It's not going to tear or rip. So I did that whole book, and it has a lot of really cool images on it and really nice thick paper. So I'd probably use these even for like pockets maybe to put in my book. So I'm prepping all my stuff. These are the back of these are the index pages from an atlas, right? And these are like semi-glossy. So anyway, yep, so I did all of those map pages as well. So all of these will go into either the permanent signatures of my new hybrid books, or they will go in my faux flow section. So there is that I've been working on. Okay, so last but not least, I think, here's another thing that I again scanned and printed out on my computer. I had this past weekend, or on Friday, my daughter went in for her wisdom teeth removal. Everything went swimmingly. She did a great job. She had a little bit of swelling, not too much pain. Her office, the people, or the doctor, is really super great doctor here. And the whole staff is great. And they do like it's a platelet, a platelet procedure, and so it cuts down a lot on the healing time and all of that. I mean, she had the surgery on Friday, and then on Sunday she was at a nautical flea market. So yeah, and she returned to work today, so she's doing very well. Anywho, while I was sitting there and I knew I'd be waiting in the office for quite a long time, I decided to learn how to make some lace. This is called tape lace, I think. I'm not sure if that's just the generic name, so I don't know the pattern of this particular one. You could probably see it better if I put it on the white paper and show you. I don't know. Anyway, did that. That was super fun. And what I'm going to do with this, let me find my book now, I think, is it is quite fiddly, like my dear friend Nikki was saying. It is quite fiddly, and it showed me that I really do need to go to my eye appointment next week because I need new glasses. But I think I'm going to glue it right there. I think it'll look beautiful. So yeah, that was super fun to do. Took me a bit, but, and I think I had to rewatch, I had to rewind and rewatch the video, each section, for about 15 of these before I finally got it in my brain on what I was supposed to do next. But I did that. And then I also started working on this tape lace. I don't know what this is called. Again, I'll leave all the links below. And you can do the same thing with this. Put it on a journal cover, or, you know, whatever the case is. You could use it as a bookmark. Some people use it, or had been saying that they have used these for a bookmark. And this is a crochet thread. Here's the pink crochet thread. It's a lot thinner. And then when I was doing this one here, I decided I wanted to go even smaller. Look how thin that is. Oy. And make one with thinner thread. So I'm working on this one too. So I have that going. Oh my goodness. And then this here is my daughter's crochet blanket that I finally finished. And she was loving it while she was resting after her surgery. And I'll leave the link for this below as well. It's called Boardwalk Breeze. Super easy to do. I used about 4 Karen cakes of rice pudding, and I also used about 1 ball of gray loops and threads, chunky. So super easy to make, quick to whip up, sort of. And so that was one whip that was finished. So I finished one whip. I still have 2 whips going, and now I have 2 more. So I finished one whip and I have four whips now. Anyway, so I think that's all. I think that's all that I wanted to share with you. Yes, glad to be back. I'm looking forward to making that tutorial for you guys. I need to get started on that, and it will be coming soon. And yeah, thank you for sharing your time with me, and I will talk at you all soon.